For thousands of years, different civilizations didn't have antidepressants or sleeping pills, but they had something else. They had rituals, sacred plants, daily practices that humans came back to generation after generation because they worked. The ancient Egyptians performed ceremonies with specific plants for mental clarity. Buddhist monks sought in meditation for hours, supported by what they drank. The Ayurvedic doctors of India built entire systems around plants that balance not just your body, but your mind and emotions. And here's the interesting part. These weren't just placebos. Modern science is finally catching up and validating why these plants matter. Today, I'm showing you 15 of these forgotten plants, organized the way ancient cultures intentionally used them. We're starting with plants that supported mental clarity and presence, then moving to everyday sleep and mood support. Next, the deep wisdom of Ayurveda, then the focused calm of East Asia, and finishing with the Mediterranean herbs that have lived in Western gardens this whole time, hiding in plain sight. From the familiar calm of lavender to the lesser-known Gotu Kola, long associated with meditation and clarity, these are the plants ancient cultures turned to in moments of stillness. Stay with me as we uncover them. Before we go further, hit that subscribe button. We're building a community of people who want to understand their health at a deeper level, not just fix symptoms, but support what's actually happening in your body and brain. New videos every week that reconnect you with this forgotten knowledge. And here's what you absolutely need to know. Nothing I show you today is a replacement for talking to a doctor. If you're dealing with mental issues or you're on medications, talk to a healthcare provider before trying anything here. Some of these plants interact with medications. Some can cause side effects or contraindications. These are meant to support and complement good health habits, not replace professional care. Now, let's begin with the plants that supported clarity. Number 1. Gotu Kola. In Buddhist monasteries across Asia, Gotu Kola was known as a meditation plant. Monks would prepare it as part of their daily practice because it seemed to support something specific, clarity without the buzz. The plant contains compounds including saprogenins and triterpenoids. These are being studied for their effects on GABA production, the same system that pharmaceutical anti-anxiety medications target, but working through the plant's full chemistry rather than a single isolated compound. A double-blind, placebo-controlled study showed that people taking Gotu Kola had a significantly reduced startle response to sudden noises, a reliable marker of anxiety. This suggests real neurological effects, not just placebo. But here's important. Gotu Kola doesn't make you sleepy. Instead, it seems to help your nervous system distinguish between alert and anxious and calm and focused. As a tea, it tastes slightly bitter and earthy. The traditional dose was consistent, daily use over weeks. It's not meant to be a quick fix, but a nervous system tonic, something you'd return to like a practice. Important. Gotu Kola should not be combined with other medications without medical supervision. Talk to your doctor first. It's the plant that the clearest minds throughout history chose to support their practice. Number 2. Bay Laurel, the clarity herb. Bay Laurel has one of the most persistent cultural connections in history. It was literally worn by philosophers and leaders because people believed in its power to support clear thinking and composure. And the plant chemistry makes sense. The leaves contain compounds including 1.8 cineol, the same compound found in rosemary and eucalyptus. In general aromatherapy research, 1.8 cineol shows effects on focus and cognitive function. We know the compound exists and we know it's been used for thousands of years, but we don't have modern research validating the traditional use. As an aroma in the environment, leaves burning or kept in sachets near workspaces, and has a culinary herb in foods and broths. Bay Laurel reminds us that not all traditional knowledge has been validated by modern science yet, but that doesn't mean it's ineffective. It means we're still investigating. It's the herb that teaches patience. Sometimes the best wisdom is waiting for science to catch up.
Number 3. Rosemary, the clarity finisher. Rosemary also contains 1.8 cineol, the same compound in bay laurel, but in a stronger concentration. Where bay laurel is a suggestion, rosemary is a voice. Multiple studies have shown that rosemary, whether used aromatically, culinarily, or as a tea, improves memory formation, cognitive speed, and focus. Brain imaging studies show measurable changes in attention and processing when people are exposed to rosemary aroma. This is one of the few culinary herbs with legitimate modern research support. People describe rosemary as mentally clarifying. The cloudiness lifts and thinking becomes sharper. It pairs beautifully with work, studying, or any activity requiring sustained mental effort. as a tea from fresh or dried leaves, as an essential oil used aromatically, or simply incorporated into cooking. The flavor is strong and distinctive. Rosemary essential oil should be diluted before skin application. Internal use should be moderate. It's potent, and too much can be overwhelming. Not recommended for pregnancy or nursing. It's the plant that says, clarity was waiting in your kitchen this whole time. Now let's explore the plants traditionally linked to deep rest and emotional balance. Number 4, Valerian, the deep sleep root. For over 2,000 years across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, people used valerian root when they couldn't sleep. Not for a few nights, but when someone's nervous system was genuinely exhausted and needed to reset. The root contains compounds called valerianic acid and other sesquiterpenes that interact with GABA pathways. A systematic review of clinical trials showed valerian improved sleep quality compared to placebo, though the evidence is mixed and the effects are modest. Here's the important distinction. Valerian isn't a knockout. It doesn't force sleep. Instead, it seems to lower the nervous system's activation level, making it easier for sleep to hop in naturally. The effect builds over time. Night 1, most people notice nothing. By the 3rd or 4th night of consistent use, many report deeper sleep. This suggests it's working on the nervous system's baseline, not just sedating. In medieval Europe, it was so common for sleep support that monasteries grew it intentionally. In traditional Chinese medicine, similar root plants serve this purpose. In Ayurveda, it was part of sleep formulations. As a tea or tincture taken 30-60 minutes before bed, the taste is earthy, not pleasant to most people, which is why it's often combined with other herbs or taken as a tincture. Valerian has been traditionally used to support rest, but it's not for everyone. It may interact with certain medications that affect the nervous system, and it's generally avoided during pregnancy or before medical procedures. Some people also notice drowsiness or vivid dreams. As with any herb, it's best approached with awareness and, if needed, guidance from a professional. Pharmaceuticals like benzodiazepines were developed, and they act faster and more predictably, but they also carry dependence risks that valerian doesn't. As people seek alternatives to sleeping pills, valerian is having a quiet resurgence. It's the root that ancient cultures trusted to help exhausted nervous systems remember how to rest deeply. Number 5, lemon balm, the mood uplift. If valerian is for deep rest, lemon balm is for something more everyday, the constant low-level stress and mental heaviness that comes with modern life. For centuries, lemon balm was grown in herb gardens specifically for mood support and gentle calming. Medieval herbalists called it elixir of life because people reached for it so consistently. The leaves contain citrol, geraniol, and other compounds with mild anxiolytic properties. An in vitro study found that lemon balm extract had the strongest effect on reducing GABA breakdown among plants tested. The research on lemon balm is more extensive than on most other calming herbs and consistently shows small but real improvements in mood and anxiety when taken regularly. People describe lemon balm as taking the edge off without making them foggy. It's gentle enough to give to older children in consultation with a doctor, yet substantive enough to matter for adults. Fresh or dried leaves as a tea or the essential oil used aromatically. The flavor is pleasant, lemony, herbaceous, so unlike valerian, most people enjoy drinking it. Consistency matters. Daily use for 2 weeks shows more benefit than sporadic use. In medieval gardens, lemon balm was always near the kitchen or sitting areas because people used it throughout the day. A cup in the morning for mood, another in the afternoon for focus, another before bed combined with other sleep herbs. Lemon balm is usually well tolerated, but those on certain medications or during pregnancy may want to be mindful. Occasionally, it can cause mild stomach discomfort if taken on an empty stomach. It's the plant that whispers, "You can handle this day. Let me help you settle."
Number 6, St. John's wort, the emotional balancer. This one requires complete honesty from the start. St. John's wort has been used in European folk medicine for over 1,000 years for emotional balance and to support mood during difficult periods. The plant contains hyperforin and other compounds that affect serotonin, dopamine, and GABA, the same neurotransmitters that antidepressants target. Multiple clinical trials have compared St. John's wort to pharmaceutical antidepressants for mild to moderate depression. Some studies show comparable effects to certain antidepressants, particularly for mild cases. St. John's wort interacts with a lot of medications. Do not take St. John's wort with explicit medical supervision. For mild mood support in people not on other medications, St. John's wort has legitimate traditional backing and some research support. It works slowly. Effects take 4 to 6 weeks to build.
It's not for acute depression requiring immediate help. As a tea, tincture, or standardized extract, if you choose to use it, consistency matters, and medical supervision is wise, not optional. St. John's wort represents an important moment when traditional knowledge actually aligns with modern research, but only for specific people and specific situations. It's not a miracle cure, but it's not placebo either. It's the plant that teaches us that responsibility matters more than romance, that the most powerful medicines require the most careful attention. Now let's step into Ayurveda, an ancient tradition where balance was not treated as a symptom, but cultivated as a way of life. Number 7, Ashwagandha, the resilience root. Ashwagandha has something other plants don't. It's been at the center of a deliberate medical system for 5,000 years. In Ayurveda, it's classified as a rasayana, a rejuvenation herb meant to support the body's ability to handle stress and recover from exhaustion. The root is what's used, and it contains alkaloids and steroidal compounds called withanolides. Ashwagandha is one of the most studied Ayurvedic plants in modern science. Multiple clinical trials have shown measurable improvements in stress resilience, cortisol levels, and the ability to remain calm under sustained pressure. One key finding: ashwagandha doesn't make you calm immediately. Instead, it seems to restore your nervous system's ability to regulate itself under stress. People report that situations that normally spike anxiety no longer do, not because they don't care, but because their baseline activation is lower. This is different from acute calming. Ashwagandha is for long-term resilience, particularly for people dealing with ongoing stress, work pressure, caregiving, chronic worry. The effect builds over weeks. First month, subtle. By month 2 or 3, changes become apparent to the person and people around them. Traditionally prepared as a warm milk drink called ashwagandha milk or golden milk, mixed with warming spices. Also available as powders, tinctures, and extracts. Dosing matters. Typical clinical doses are 300 to 600 milligrams daily. Ashwagandha is widely used in traditional practices, but it may not suit everyone, especially during pregnancy or when combined with certain medications. Some people find it slightly energizing, and its effects usually develop gradually with consistent use. Western medicine is only recently understanding resilience, the ability to stay regulated under stress. Ayurveda had a word and a plant for it for 5,000 years. It's the root that teaches your nervous system not to overreact, but to resource itself. Number 8, Tulsi, the sacred balancer. In Hindu tradition, Tulsi, also called holy basil, is sacred. Families grew it in pots on windowsills. People drink it as tea daily. It was woven into daily practice because it worked. Tulsi contains eugenol, carvacrol, and other compounds that traditional herbalists recognize as supporting nervous system balance. People who drink Tulsi tea regularly describe a quieting of mental chatter without sedation. Unlike Valerian, sleep, or ashwagandha, resilience, Tulsi seems to work on the present moment, the ability to be here without the constant noise of worry. Fresh or dried leaves as a tea. The flavor is pleasant, slightly peppery, slightly sweet. Traditionally, 1 cup in the morning to start the day with intention, and 1 in the evening to release the day's tension. This is genuinely a daily practice plant. 1 cup rarely shows an effect, but 30 days of consistent Tulsi tea often leads people to notice they're less reactive, more present. There are several types of Tulsi: red Tulsi, green Tulsi, Krishna Tulsi, and herbalists debate their subtle differences. For practical purposes, any true Tulsi serves the foundational purpose. Tulsi is widely used in traditional cooking and is generally considered safe, but those managing blood sugar or during pregnancy may want to be mindful. It's the plant that turns getting through the day into living the day. Number 9, Brahmi, the mind clarifier. In Sanskrit, Brahmi means bestower of knowledge. For centuries in Ayurveda, Brahmi was used specifically for supporting mental clarity, learning, and memory. The plant is Bacopa maniri, and it contains bacosides, compounds being actively studied in modern neuroscience for their effects on memory formation and cognitive function. Studies on Bacopa have consistently shown improvements in memory retention, learning ability, and information processing speed. The effects are modest but real. This isn't a supplement that makes you a genius, but it does seem to support the brain's baseline functioning. Importantly, the traditional use and modern research align. Ayurveda said Brahmi was for students and scholars, for supporting the mind during learning. Modern research confirms this claim. People taking Brahmi for 8 to 12 weeks report improved recall, clearer thinking, and better mental stamina. Not a jolt like caffeine, but a steadier, more available mind. Some research suggests it may also have mild calming effects, making worry less sticky. Traditionally as a tea from fresh or dried leaves, modern standardized extracts, bacopa and powder or capsule form, are common. The taste is mildly bitter, so it's often combined with other herbs. Dosing and timing matter. Brahmi shows effects over weeks, not days. Generally considered gentle and well-tolerated, though some people may prefer taking it with food. It's also commonly avoided during pregnancy as a precaution. It's the plant that clears the static, so you can hear what you already know.
Now we move into East Asia, where calm was not the absence of activity, but a quiet, sustained clarity carried over time. Number 10, green tea, the focused awareness. Green tea is the only plant on this list that most of you have probably already had, but you might not understand why monks chose it for meditation. The story goes that Bodhidharma, the founder of Zen Buddhism, accidentally discovered tea when he fell asleep meditating. That's mythology. But the practical reality is true. For 1500 years, Buddhist monks drank green tea specifically because of how it affects the mind. Green tea contains L-theanine, an amino acid that increases alpha wave activity in the brain, the same wave pattern associated with relaxed alertness. Combined with moderate caffeine, it creates something unique: calm focus, alert without anxiety. This isn't speculation. Brain imaging studies confirm that L-theanine plus caffeine produces a different neurological state than caffeine alone. Unlike coffee, which often creates a spike and crash, green tea creates a sustained, gentle alertness. People meditating for hours reported that green tea helped them remain focused without the agitation that came with other stimulants. Brewed properly, at lower temperatures, shorter steep times, green tea delivers its full profile. Higher temperatures or longer steeping can make it bitter and more stimulating. Quality matters. Ceremonial-grade green tea is different from commercial tea bags. Green tea contains caffeine. If you're sensitive to caffeine or on certain medications, be cautious. In rare cases, high doses can cause insomnia or jitteriness. It's the plant that taught the world that calm and alertness are opposites. They're partners.
Number 11. Ginseng, the resilience builder. While green tea provided focus moment to moment, ginseng, particularly Asian ginseng, Panax ginseng, was used for something deeper, building the body's capacity to handle stress over the long term. In traditional Chinese medicine, ginseng is classified as a qi tonic, something that restores your fundamental energy. The root contains ginsenoids, compounds that have been studied extensively and shown to have adaptogenic properties. An adaptogen is a plant that helps your body adapt to stress, supporting your ability to maintain balance under pressure. Clinical trials on ginseng show improved stamina, reduced fatigue, and better stress tolerance. Some research suggests it may also improve cognitive function and mood. The effects are modest but consistent and genuine. Ginseng is not a stimulant in the coffee sense. It doesn't spike your energy and drop it. Instead, it seems to restore your baseline energy capacity so you have more stamina throughout the day. Traditionally, as a decoction, long-simmered tea from sliced root or in soups and broths. Modern extracts, powders, and tinctures are available. The taste is slightly sweet and earthy. Dosing matters for adaptogens. Typical clinical doses are 200 to 400 milligrams daily. Consistent use over 4 to 8 weeks is typical before people notice differences. Ginseng is widely used and generally well tolerated, though some people find it a bit stimulating. Those with certain conditions or sensitivities may want to use it with awareness. Ginseng is so prized that it's expensive, often cultivated for decades before harvesting. That level of investment suggests something genuinely valuable, and 5 centuries of continuous use in medicine supports that. It's the root that builds your capacity so you don't break under pressure.
12. Lotus, the stillness symbol. We're now talking about water lily lotus, Nelumbo nucifera, not the psychoactive blue lotus mentioned in some herbals. This is different. In Buddhism, the lotus growing from mud into light is the central metaphor, transformation from suffering into clarity. But beyond metaphor, the plant was actually used. Lotus seeds, roots, and seed pods were prepared as food and medicine. Lotus, Nelumbo nucifera, contains compounds including alkaloids that some research suggests may have mild mood-supporting properties. The traditional use was not as an acute treatment, but as a food medicine, something eaten regularly as part of daily practice. Unlike the other plants in this section, lotus was used differently. It was incorporated into meditation centers as food, eaten mindfully,
used as a focal point for present moment awareness. This is important. Not all plants work through their biochemistry alone. Some work through the ritual and intention surrounding them. Lotus is this kind of plant. Lotus seed or root tea, or incorporating lotus into prepared foods. The flavor is subtle, slightly sweet, slightly earthy. It's not meant to be powerful, but to support a contemplative practice. Do not confuse this with blue lotus, Nymphaea coralia, which has psychoactive properties and FDA warnings. They are completely different plants. It's the plant that teaches you to rise, not by force, but by transformation.
We've traveled from Asia to India to East Asia, and every place, with completely different plants and cultures, arrived at the same understanding that supporting your nervous system's balance is foundational to everything else. You don't need to travel to the Himalayas or Japan to find these plants anymore, and you don't need exotic or rare herbs for the effects to work. The last 3 plants we're about to explore have been growing in Western gardens and Mediterranean regions for thousands of years. Number 13, chamomile, the accessible gateway. Chamomile is where this whole story comes full circle. This plant has been used in European medicine for over 1,000 years. It was so standard that it moved from herbal practice into commercial pharmacy. Chamomile tea became the thing grandmothers gave you and lost all its power because we forgot it was medicine. But the science confirms what grandmothers knew. Chamomile contains compounds called apigenin that bind to GABA receptors, the same receptors targeted by benzodiazepine anxiety medications. Clinical trials show that chamomile significantly improves sleep quality and mild anxiety, not dramatically, but measurably and consistently. People describe chamomile as gently relaxing without sedation. It helps quiet racing thoughts, reduces physical tension, and makes it easier to fall asleep. It's mild enough that children can use it in consultation with parents, but substantial enough that it works for adults. As a simple tea from dried flowers, this is the most accessible plant on this list. It's in every grocery store, affordable and effective. Consistency matters. 1 cup is nice, but 10 to 14 days of regular chamomile shows measurable effects. Chamomile is widely used and generally considered very gentle. However, those with sensitivities to certain flowering plants, particularly in the same botanical family, may want to approach it with care. It's the plant that reminds you, the most powerful medicine is often the simplest, the most available, the one you almost overlook.
14. Lavender, the restoration ritual. Lavender bridges chemistry and ritual better than almost any other plant. The flowers contain linalool and linaloyl acetate, aromatic compounds that research shows activate relaxation pathways in the brain. But lavender is also about ritual, the preparation, the scent, the care in applying it. For thousands of years in Mediterranean regions, lavender was grown not just for its function, but for how its presence changed a space. Studies on lavender essential oil and dried lavender show consistent effects on anxiety, sleep quality, and stress resilience. Some research suggests it works through aromatherapy, smelling it, some through ingestion, and some through topical application. All pathways seem to work. Lavender is gentler than strong sedatives, but more reliable than placebo. It's not for acute panic, but for the daily low-level tension that builds up. Regular use changes your baseline anxiety level. As dried flowers in tea, essential oil in diffusers or diluted on skin, in sachets, or as dried bundles placed under pillows. The uses are varied and flexible, and that flexibility is part of why it's so accessible. Lavender is widely used and generally considered gentle, but it's not for everyone. It's typically avoided during pregnancy, and more concentrated forms are best used with care, especially on the skin. When used internally, moderation is usually preferred. It's the plant that taught the world that beauty and function don't have to be separate, that a room that smells like possibility can actually change how you feel.
The last one, thyme, the courage and calm herb. Thyme has one of the richest histories of any Mediterranean herb. Ancient Egyptians used it in embalming ceremonies. Greeks and Romans valued it for strength and courage. Medieval herbalists burned it to purify spaces and support calm under pressure. But what's fascinating is that modern research is validating the ancient intuition about what thyme does, not just historically, but neurologically. Thyme contains compounds including thymol, carvacrol, and 1,8-cineol. These are the same types of compounds found in rosemary and other Mediterranean herbs, but in thyme, they seem to work together in a specific way. A 2023 randomized controlled trial is particularly striking. Half received dried thyme leaves twice daily for 1 month. The other half received placebo. By the end of the month, the thyme group showed significant reductions in anxiety scores, significant reductions in depression scores, improved prospective and retrospective memory, meaning fewer everyday memory lapses, improved overall sleep quality. This wasn't a tiny effect either. The improvements were measurable on validated clinical scales. And notably, thyme didn't just sedate people, it improved both mood and mental clarity. Thyme was used in 2 ways: burned as smoke for environmental cleansing and intention setting, and prepared as a tea for daily practice. The ritualistic aspect mattered. Thyme was often used with intention, not just casually. As a tea from fresh or dried leaves, about 1 to 3 cups a day. The flavor is pleasant, warm, slightly peppery, herbaceous, so it's easy to incorporate into daily practice. You can also add fresh thyme or cooking. The culinary use delivers the same compounds as medicinal use. Thyme is commonly used and generally gentle in culinary amounts, though it's best approached with a bit of care in more concentrated forms or for those with sensitivities. It's the herb that the ancients associated with courage, and modern science suggests why. It helps your nervous system stay calm and clear under pressure, exactly what you need when facing difficulty. So here's what we've covered. 15 plants from cultures across the world, all pointing to this same understanding. Your nervous system is the foundation. Supporting it through plants, through practice, through intention, changes everything. But remember, these plants are companions to good habits: sleep, movement, connection, professional help when you need it. They're not replacements, they're amplifiers. If this resonated with you, if you felt something shift in how you understand your health, hit that like button and subscribe. We're building a community that wants to go deeper, not just take a pill and move on, but actually understand what's happening in their bodies and minds. Drop a comment. Which of these resonated with you most? I read all of them. And if you're struggling with anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, or you're on medications, talk to a healthcare provider. These plants are remarkable companions, but they work best alongside professional care, not instead of it. Thank you for going on this journey with me. New videos every week that reconnect you with this forgotten knowledge. See you next time.